Hello students, welcome back to LFI Educates. So in this video, we are going to start with another unit, that is Unit 2, Food and Digestion. So let's begin. The topics that we are going to learn today are nutrients, a balanced diet, digestion and absorption, the human digestive system, teeth and enzymes. So let's start with our first topic, nutrients. What are nutrients? Nutrients are components in food that the body needs to grow and maintain healthy function. Basically, the body needs nutrients to survive. Every living organism needs energy. We see animals like goat, cows, horses grazing in the field. Another example is we humans consume food 2 to 3 times in a day. And all this we eat is to obtain energy in the body and to provide materials for making the chemicals that are needed to make new cells and other parts of the body. Humans need energy to perform all the day-to-day activities like running, walking, dancing, playing sports, exercising, etc., which comes under physical activities. We also use energy even in our leisure time, like sitting, sleeping, breathing, meditating, etc. So, to provide energy, food is a basic requirement for everyone. Different kinds of food contain different combinations of nutrients. There are 7 classifications of nutrients: protein, carbohydrate, fat, vitamins, minerals, fiber, and water. Nutrients such as protein, carbohydrate, and fat has to be consumed in the largest quantity. Protein. Protein is used to make new cells. Protein is also used to make enzymes and antibodies. Protein is an important building block of bones, muscles, cartilage, skin, and blood. Our body cells can use protein to supply energy. Examples of protein-rich food are fish, seafood, eggs, meat, dairy products, beans, nuts and seeds, etc. Carbohydrate. One of the primary functions of carbohydrate is to provide your body with energy. Most of the carbohydrate in the food you eat are digested and broken down into glucose before entering the bloodstream. Starch and sugar are 2 kinds of carbohydrate. Examples of carbohydrates-rich food are grains, starchy vegetables like corn, peas, and potatoes, sugary drinks like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, etc. Fat. Fat also provides energy. Fat can be stored in the body. Fat stores underneath the skin provide insulation and needed to make new cell membranes. Examples of fat-rich food are eggs, cheese, fish, nuts, butter, oil, etc. Vitamins and minerals. Vitamins and minerals are nutrients that we need in only small quantities. They do not provide energy but are essential because they perform hundreds of roles in our body. Fruits and vegetables are good source of vitamins and minerals. Fiber and water. Fiber helps to keep food moving easily through the digestive system. Fruits, vegetables, brown rice, wholemeal, bread, etc. are good source of fiber. Water is an essential nutrient because it is required in amounts that exceeds the body's ability to produce it. Between 60 to 70% of our body is made up of water. Let us now watch a short video clip related to Activity 2.1, Testing Food for Carbohydrates.
To test the presence of starch in the given food sample. Materials required: test tube, starch solution, that is, water extract from boiled rice, iodine solution, dropper, Test tube holder. Procedure. Take a few milliliter of starch solution in a test tube with the help of a dropper. Now, add a few drops of iodine solution to it. Observe the change in color of the mixture. Observation. The color of the mixture changes to blue-black. Inference. The color of given sample shows the presence of starch.
Aim: to detect the presence of glucose by Benedict's test. Step 1. Take 2 ml of fruit juice or milk in a test tube. Step 2. Add 2 ml of Benedict's reagent to it. Step 3. Boil the content using water bath and Bunsen burner. Step 4. The color changes from blue to green and finally to orange or brick red, indicating the presence of glucose.
And here is our second topic, a balanced diet. Diet is the food we normally eat in a day. Our diet should contain all the nutrients required by our body in right quantities. It should also contain roughage and water. Such a diet is termed as a balanced diet. People of different age need different types of diet. For example, at growing age, children require diet rich in proteins and carbohydrates. All people need diet rich in vitamins, minerals, and dietary fibers. The diet of a person also depends on the amount of physical work he or she does. For example, this man working in the farm will require food that is rich in carbohydrates. Nutritional deficiencies. If a person does not eat enough of a particular nutrient, the body may not be able to work properly. Diseases that are caused by the lack of some particular nutrients are called deficiency diseases. Types of deficiency diseases are deficiency of carbohydrates, example marasmus. Symptoms: shrunken body with no fat or less fat, ribs stick out, skin hangs loose over the bones, loss of hair. Deficiency of proteins, example kwashiorkor. Symptoms: swollen stomach and ankles, skeletal body, stunted growth, discolored hair and patchy skin. Deficiency of minerals, examples muscle cramps, dental cavity, rickets, goiter, anemia, and paralysis. Deficiency of vitamins. The table shows information about vitamins and examples of diseases. Vitamin A, color blindness. Vitamin B1, beriberi. Vitamin B6, anemia. Vitamin C, scurvy. Vitamin D, rickets. And vitamin K, hemorrhage. Up next we have digestion and absorption. Alimentary canal. Alimentary canal begins with mouth and ends with anus. It is a muscular coiled tubular structure varying in length from 8 to 9 meters. The diagram summarizes what happens to the food that an animal eats as it travels through this tube. First, the food is taken into the mouth and begins its journey along the alimentary canal. As it passes along the canal, tiny food particles are able to get out of the canal and into the body. This is called absorption. And at the end, all the food that could not be absorbed passes out of the anus as feces. Absorption and digestion. Absorption is the process by which the products of digestion are absorbed by the blood to be supplied to the rest of the body. Protein, starch, and fat are made up of large molecules. Molecules of these three nutrients are so big that they cannot get through the walls of the alimentary canal. So in order to get these nutrients to your cells, the big molecules have to be broken down into much smaller ones. This is what digestion is. It is the breakdown of large molecules into small ones so that they can be absorbed. As starch molecules can be broken down into many sugar molecules. Let us now watch a short video clip on absorption of glucose and starch through a whisking tube, activity 2.3.
Alex and his friends are having snacks. Alex is eating rather fast without chewing his food properly. His friends suggest that he chew his food slowly so that it will break down into smaller pieces. Some food molecules are large, such as starch, while others are small, such as glucose. This can be shown in an experiment using whisking tubes. One whisking tube contains a starch solution, while the other contains a glucose solution. Both whisking tubes are placed in boiling tubes with distilled water. The whisking tubes are left for 30 minutes and then tested for starch, iodine test, and glucose, Benedict's test. It can be shown that when iodine solution is added to a sample in test tube P, it remains brown in color. This shows that starch is absent in the distilled water. The starch molecules are not able to pass through the whisking tube. Benedict's test is used for a sample in test tube Q. The Benedict's solution changes from blue to a brick red precipitate upon heating. This shows that glucose is present in the distilled water. Glucose molecules are able to pass through the whisking tube. The whisking tube in the experiment acts like the small intestine in our body. The digested food, like glucose, are absorbed in the small intestine and diffused into the blood, which is represented by the distilled water.
Our next topic is the human digestive system. Our digestive system is made up of the alimentary canal plus the salivary glands, liver, and pancreas. The alimentary tract of the digestive system is composed of the mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and anus. Functions of organs in a digestive system. Mouth. The smell of food triggers the salivary gland in your mouth to secrete saliva, causing your mouth to water. Once you start chewing and breaking the food down into pieces small enough to be digested, more saliva is produced, and this saliva starts to break down starch to sugar. Esophagus. Food passes through the esophagus without changing. Stomach. Stomach is a J-shaped hollow organ or container that holds food while it is being mixed with stomach enzymes. Hydrochloric acid kills microorganisms into food, and stomach juices begin to break down protein to amino acids. Small intestine. Functionally, the small intestine is chiefly involved in the digestion and absorption of nutrients. Juices from the pancreas finish breaking down starch, protein, and fat to small molecules. These small molecules are then absorbed through the walls of the small intestine. Large intestine. All the food that could not be digested and absorbed passes through here. A little more of the water in it is absorbed. The undigested food collects up and forms feces. Liver. Liver makes a digestive juice called bile that helps digest fats and some vitamins. Bile ducts carry bile from liver to gallbladder for storage or to the small intestine for use. Pancreas. Pancreas make pancreatic juices called enzymes. These enzymes break down sugars, fats, and starches. Here is our second last topic, teeth. There are several different layers that make up a human tooth. The visible part of the tooth is the crown. This is the top part of the tooth. The shape of the crown gives a clue to the tooth function. There are 4 types of teeth in a human mouth. Every tooth has its specific job. The front teeth are incisors. They are sharp chisel-shaped front teeth used for biting off small pieces of food. Canines are teeth with points for tearing food. Premolars have 2 pointed cusps or their biting surface. They help with crushing and tearing food. Lastly, the molars are in the back of the mouth and are used for grinding and crushing food. The structure of a tooth. The outermost layer of a tooth crown is enamel. This is the hardest, most mineralized tissue in the body, yet it can be damaged by decay if teeth is not cured properly. Enamel is almost transparent. Underneath the enamel is a layer of dentine, which forms the pulp of a tooth. It is less mineralized than enamel, and its color determines your teeth shape. There are millions of tiny tubes that lead directly from the outer edge of the dentine to the core of the tooth. The dental pulp contains soft tissue found in the center of all teeth where the nerves and blood vessels are. The gum line is where the tooth and the gums meet. What you don't see in the mouth is 2/3 of the tooth, the root. Fibers help to hold the tooth in the jawbone. Jawbone anchors the teeth in right position. Nerves and blood vessels are the living part of the tooth, and it's very sensitive. It supplies nutrients to the tooth and takes away waste products, which makes the teeth healthy and living. Caring for teeth. Don't drink fizzy drinks or eat sugary food all day long. Clean your teeth thoroughly after breakfast and before you go to bed. Use a toothpaste containing fluoride. Fluoride helps to strengthen the enamel on your teeth. Eat lots of fruits and vegetables. Visit a dentist for a dental checkup once a year. Follow healthy eating habits. Eat healthy and fiber-rich food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Drink at least 8 glasses of water every day. Here is a short video on Activity 2.5, How Fizzy Drinks Affects Teeth.
Today I'm going to try out an experiment and see what happens if you leave a tooth sat in a bottle of Coca-Cola. This is a front tooth, or incisor tooth, which fell out recently from the mouth of my 6-year-old nephew, and he kindly donated it to this project. You can see it looks in good healthy condition. It's nice and clean and there's no pitting on it, and the only reason it fell out is to make way for the larger adult teeth to push through. I'm no dentist, but I guess this hole is where the root held it in place. I'm gonna put it inside a bottle of Coca-Cola and leave it to sit there for a week to see what happens. So I dropped it in the top and screwed the lid back on. You can see it at the bottom of the bottle, looking nice, clean, shiny and white. So I put the bottle down and left it sitting there. After 3 days, I decided to take a look. You can see it's started to discolour and it's not nearly as bright as it was. And it actually looks like there's a brown, dirty layer starting to coat it. After 5 days, the layer has built up even more and it looks really dirty. I can't tell yet if it's just on the surface of the tooth or if it's ingrained a bit deeper. After a week, you can see it's looking really black. And it's time to take it out of the bottle. So I took the lid off and strained it through a sieve to get it out. But it's stuck to the inside of the bottle, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to take a look at it. I gave it a good shake, and it did come out. And you can see how black and disgusting it looks. The colour change is incredible, but at this stage I still don't know if it's just on the surface of the tooth and whether it'll wipe off. So I took a hold of it and gave it a scratch. There's definitely a layer which rubs off, but it has dramatically stained the tooth as well. You can see the top where it's thin has become soft and flexible. And if I use my tweezers, you can actually rip bits off because it's so soft. And there's a skanky build-up inside too. You can see the surface of the tooth no longer looks clean and smooth, it now looks pitted and in really terrible condition. The Coke has stained the tooth and is completely corroded.
And here is our last topic, enzymes. The large nutrient molecules are broken down into small molecules by chemicals called enzymes. Enzymes act as a catalyst for specific chemical reactions, converting a specific set of reactants called substrate into specific products. When one substance is changed into a different substance, we say that a chemical reaction has taken place. The diagram shows a chemical reaction that happens during digestion. Catalyst: a substance that speeds up a chemical reaction but is not changed itself is called a catalyst. A short video clip on activity 2.6 using an enzymes to digest starch.
In this investigation, we'll use an enzyme to break apart complex starches into simple sugars.
We'll use an iodine solution to test for the presence of starches. Normally, this solution is this yellowish color, but when this solution mixes with starch, it chemically reacts, becoming a very dark purple or black color. This makes it evident that starch is present in the solution. iodine solution has been used to show that both of these test tubes contain starch. To one test tube, we will add an enzyme that will digest these starch molecules.
The enzyme we'll be using is called amylase. It's the same enzyme that's found in your saliva, and allows your body to start digesting starches as soon as you begin to chew your food.
We'll place both of our test tubes into a warm water bath. This will allow our enzyme to work much faster.
Iodine makes the starch solutions black, but once the starch has been digested by the enzymes, that black color will go away.
You can see here that after our enzyme was allowed to work, that's exactly what happened, and the color in that test tube went away.
Now that the enzyme has digested our starch, we'll test to see if it was broken apart into simple sugars. To do that, we'll use Benedict's solution. Benedict's solution tests for simple sugars. When sugars are placed into this solution and heated, a precipitate is formed. That precipitate provides evidence that simple sugars were present.
We'll take some of our digested starch and place this into our Benedict solution. This will allow us to test for the presence of sugars. Then we'll place our solution over a flame so that it can be heated and observe whether or not a precipitate is formed. It's very important that whenever you heat the contents of a test tube, you take the proper safety precautions. Here you can see the precipitate at the bottom of the test tube.
So there you have it. This lab investigation provides evidence that when starch, a complex carbohydrate, gets broken apart into smaller molecules, those smaller molecules are in fact simple sugars.
So with this, we have reached to the end of this video. Thank you for watching.